When my daughter-in-law decided I didn't belong, she did not raise her voice. She did not point a finger. She did not shout or accuse. She simply looked at me and said it softly. And I smiled. I smiled because I did not want her to see my heart break. I smiled because I had learned over many years how to hide pain behind calm eyes. I smiled because sometimes silence feels safer than tears. That moment stays with me, not because of the words she used, but because of how gently they were spoken. It was a quiet afternoon, the kind where the house feels still and the air feels heavy for no clear reason. The sun came in through the curtains, just enough to warm the floor. I remember thinking how peaceful everything looked. Funny how life does that. It gives you peace on the outside, right before something inside you changes forever. I had lived in that house for years, not as a guest, not as a stranger. I was a mother, a helper, someone who tried her best to take up as little space as possible. And yet, there I was, standing in the kitchen, hearing words that told me I was no longer welcome. She did not say, leave. She did not say, go away. She said something gentler. I think it's time for you to have your own space.
Our own space, she said.
As if I had not already learned how to make myself small. I nodded. I listened. I smiled. But inside, something folded in on itself. Something old. Something tired. This is not a story about anger. It is not a story about blame. It is a story about quiet moments. About family. About learning where you stand when no one says it out loud. And about how words, when spoken softly, can still change everything. That I raised my son alone. His father passed when my boy was still young. Life did not ask if I was ready. It simply moved forward. So I did too. I worked when I was tired. I smiled when I was afraid. I made sure my son never felt the weight I carried. He grew up kind, gentle, the kind of child who said, new marriages need space. So I gave space. If she entered a room, I left it. If they talked, I stayed silent. If decisions were made, I did not ask questions. I told myself this was love, being careful, being respectful. But slowly, something shifted. Not loudly, not suddenly. In small ways. Looks that lingered too long. Silences that felt pointed. Conversations that stopped when I entered the room. I started eating alone more often, sitting at the table after everyone finished. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself I was imagining it. I folded my feelings the way I folded laundry, neatly, quietly, and put away. I did not want trouble. I wanted peace. But peace, I would learn, sometimes comes at a cost. The change did not come all at once. It came in small pieces. So small that I questioned myself each time. I would wake early, like always, and move through the house quietly. I did not want to disturb anyone. I believed kindness lived in being careful. At first, I cooked breakfast every morning. Simple things. Warm food.
Familiar smells.
One day, she said softly, we usually just grab something quick now. I smiled. I cleaned the stove. I stopped cooking in the mornings. Another day, I folded the laundry and placed it neatly on the sofa. She looked at the pile and said, I prefer to do my own things. I nodded. I folded my hands instead. There were no harsh words.
No arguments.
That was the hardest part. If there had been anger, I could have named it. If there had been shouting, I could have cried. But there was only distance. At dinner, the conversations changed. They talked about plans I had not heard of, places they wanted to visit,
things they wanted to buy.
I listened. I did not interrupt. Sometimes my son would look at me, as if remembering I was there. He would ask, Mom, what do you think? Before I could answer, she would say, we already decided. And the moment would pass. I started taking my plate to my room more often. Not because anyone asked me to, but because it felt easier than sitting quietly at a table where I did not belong. The house grew louder without me, but also colder. I noticed doors closing more often. Softly, politely. Their bedroom door, the study door, sometimes even the kitchen door. I began waiting for them to finish, waiting for space, waiting for permission that was never spoken. One afternoon, I heard laughter from the living room. It surprised me. I stood in the hallway for a moment, listening. I could not remember the last time laughter included me. I went back to my room and closed the door. That night, I lay awake thinking, was I doing something wrong? Was my presence too much? I replayed every moment of the day in my mind, every word I spoke, every step I took. I tried to find my mistake, but all I found was myself trying too hard to disappear. My body felt heavy, not sick, just tired in a way sleep does not fix. One evening, I overheard a conversation I was not meant to hear. "I just need space," she said. "I know," my son replied. "She doesn't mean any harm." "I know she doesn't," she said. "But it still feels like too much. Too much." I stood still in the hallway. I did not move. I did not breathe. I was not angry. I was hurt in a quiet, understanding way. Because I had felt that truth growing for a long time, that I had become something extra in their life. Something unnecessary. After that, I stopped offering help. I stopped asking questions. I lived carefully between walls that no longer felt like home. My son noticed. "You're quiet lately," he said once.
I'm just tired, irreplete.
That was true, but not in the way he thought. I missed the sound of belonging, the feeling of being needed. I missed feeling like my presence mattered. Still, I stayed silent, because love, I believed, meant endurance. But endurance has limits, and mine was getting close. The day it happened began like any other. That is what? Morning. Not the peaceful kind of quiet. The kind that feels like everyone is holding their breath. I made my tea slowly. I always did things slowly then, as if moving too fast might break something fragile. I stood by the kitchen window and watched the light fall across the floor. It looked warm, almost kind. I remember thinking how strange it was that something so gentle could exist on a day that would hurt so much. She came into the kitchen while I was rinsing my cup. She stood near the table, her hands folded together. She did not look angry. She looked tired. "Can we talk for a moment?" she asked. Her voice was soft, careful. I turned to face her and nodded. "Of course," I said. There was a pause, a long one. In that pause, I felt my heart begin to sink. It was a feeling I knew well, the feeling you get right before something ends. "I've been thinking a lot," she said slowly. "And I feel like maybe it's time for some changes." I waited. I stood very still. "I think it would be better if you had your own place," she continued. "Not because you've done anything wrong. I just feel like we need our space as a couple." Our space. The words were gentle, but they were clear. For a moment, I could not speak. The room felt smaller. The air felt heavier. I looked at her face, searching for something. A sign of doubt, a trace of apology. She looked calm, resolved. "I hope you understand," she added quickly. "I really don't want to hurt you." I smiled. I do not know why I smiled. It came before the tears could. "I understand," I said. My voice surprised even me. It sounded steady, almost peaceful. Inside, something broke quietly. Not in anger, not in shock. In acceptance. She exhaled, as if relieved. "Thank you," she said. That word stayed with me. Thank you. As if I had agreed to something small. As if I had not just been told I no longer belonged. I walked back to my room slowly. Each step felt heavier than the last. The room looked the same as always. My clothes folded neatly. My bag resting in the corner. I sat on the edge of the bed and placed my hands in my lap. I thought of all the times I had stayed quiet, all the times I had stepped aside, all the ways I had tried to make myself smaller. And still, it had not been enough. A knock came at the door. It was my son. "Mom," he said softly. I opened the door. He looked torn, conflicted. "She told me what you talked about," he said. I nodded. I didn't realize you felt uncomfortable here, he added. I didn't say that, I replied gently. But I understood what she meant. He was silent. I'll help you pack, he said finally. That sentence told me more than any explanation ever could. We packed quietly. He folded my clothes. I watched. Neither of us cried. Sometimes pain is too deep for tears. When my bag was ready, I looked around the room one last time. I had lived there, but I had never truly belonged. At the door, she stood waiting. I hope you know this isn't personal, she said again. I met her eyes. I know, I replied. And I meant it, because sometimes love does not push you away loudly. It simply opens the door and expects you to walk out quietly. As I stepped outside, the door closed behind me. Not with a slam, just a soft click. And in that sound, I understood something I had been avoiding for a long time. Some places stop being home long before we leave them. The first night after I left was the hardest. Not because I was alone. I had been alone in many ways before. It was hard because I finally stopped pretending. I stayed in a small rented room. It had one bed, one chair, and a window that faced another building. There was no view, but there was silence. I sat on the bed and listened to my own breathing.
Slow.
Unfamiliar. For the first time in a long while, I was not trying to adjust myself to someone else's comfort. That realization made me cry. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quiet tears. That came and went like gentle rain. In the days that followed, I moved slowly through life. I cooked simple meals. I washed my clothes by hand. I walked to the nearby park in the evenings. People passed by without noticing me, and strangely, that felt peaceful. I began to think about everything that had happened, not with anger, but with honesty. I asked myself questions I had avoided for years. Why had I stayed silent when I felt hurt? Why had I believed that love meant shrinking myself? Why had I accepted being tolerated instead of being valued? The answers were not easy, but they were gentle. I realized I had confused endurance with love. I thought being patient meant being invisible. I believed that if I gave enough, I would eventually be accepted. But acceptance does not grow from sacrifice alone. Some evenings, my son called. His voice was careful. "Are you okay, Mom?" he asked. "Yes," I replied. And this time it was true. He apologized once. "I should have spoken up," he said. I did not blame him. Blame would have brought more pain. We all did what we knew how to do. I told him. That was the truth. I did not speak badly about his wife. Not to him. Not to myself. She had her own fears, her own limits, and so did I. The difference was that I had ignored mine for too long. One afternoon, I unpacked my bag fully. I placed my clothes in the cupboard. I set my books on the small table. It was a simple act, but it felt like claiming space. This is where I am now, I told myself. And that is enough. I began to sleep better, to wake without tension in my chest. I smiled more often. At strangers. At myself. I understood something important then. Being asked to leave had hurt. Deeply. But staying where I was not wanted would have hurt me forever. Sometimes, walking away is not weakness. It is self-respect. And sometimes, peace begins the moment you stop asking for permission to exist. Today, my bags are no longer packed. They sit quietly in a corner, folded and empty. Not because I returned, but because I finally arrived somewhere inside myself. I still think about my son. I still wish him happiness. When we talk now, there is honesty between us. Not perfect understanding, but respect. That matters more. I no longer wait for invitations that may never come. I no longer sit at tables where my presence feels like a burden. I have learned to create my own small rituals. Morning tea by the window. Evening walks with slow steps. Letters I write but do not always send. Life is quieter now. And in that quiet, I hear myself again. If you are listening to this and feel invisible in your own home, if you are carrying pain silently to keep peace for others,
I want you to know something.
You are allowed to choose yourself. You are allowed to step away without anger, without explanation, without guilt. Love should not require you to disappear. Sometimes, the bravest thing we do is leave gently, with dignity, with grace, with hope still intact. I packed my bags after my daughter-in-law spoke, but what I truly carried with me was my self-respect. And that is something I will never unpack.